Hey guys, it's Ray. I have not been on in a while. I took a little hiatus from social media altogether just to get a hold of all the gray hairs I'm getting from the stupidity. And then we've been moving around traveling so much with my man. So we've been busy. I did want to speak on a couple of things. Um, Again, like with race, there are a lot of people that I've had conversations with, not just lately since being back on, but always, about what's black enough, who's really black, this, that, and the other. And with me, nobody has to agree with shit I say. I couldn't care less. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm not, I'm not. Most of the stuff I have to say is verifiable, but when it comes to like the white people who follow my page, um, they don't believe the truth because they're so, you know, comfortable with lies because it fits the view that they want to have of their own people. But when it comes to race, like blackness, a lot of people don't realize if people say, what are you mixed with, black and what else? You're a black person. Black is a social construct. It is not biological. Biological would be saying, I'm a part African, I'm a part North Asian, and this, that, and the other. There are certain things that are biological, and then whenever it comes to society, they make up this idea or this standard that we have to abide by based on their laws, especially when it comes to slavery, slave codes, black codes, Jim Crow. Um, if you look through black history, you will see people that look almost white, but more of like a Latino looking type person who are the first so-and-sos when it comes to black history, or revolutionaries in black history. And over time, things change, and we have gone from black being slaves to being people of sub-Saharan African ancestry, and over time, they have split it up based on their own needs. Like now, for instance, one of the greatest reasons for doing this is whenever it comes to people pointing out the differences of police brutality and certain types of things like this. Like when you see the incarceration, most of the time you're not going to see a mixed area. But whenever it comes to police brutality, you're going to see black, mixed, other, unknown. You're going to see a bunch of different divisions of people based on their needs. Same thing with prison. You'll see white, black, Hispanic, non-black, non-white, Hispanic, and like different things like this. But whenever it comes to blackness in America, it is basically changed again to how you identify, which means that Rachel Doe, whatever her name is, she could legally and literally mark herself down as black because she feels black, even though she does not have black features, which are sub-Saharan African features. That's why there's so many arguments now that say you're not black enough, you're not this enough, you're not really black. You can't be half black. You can have a non-black parent and a black parent and still be black, or you can have a non-black parent and a black parent and not be black. For instance, what's that dude's name? His daughter's Rashida Jones. Barry Gordon, whatever. But anywho, he has a bunch of kids, and a couple of them look white. One of them looks kind of white. That wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yeah, that dude. But you can tell by his hair he's not white. Rashida looks all the way white. She could pass as white, and in today's society, she is absolutely, without a doubt, white. But her sister, on the other hand, she has more coarse hair, and she has more of a tan, and she's black, and everybody can see the blackness in her. She looks kind of like Tamia. But one thing about people in society is they think they make the standards whenever we don't even have the right to say what and how we're going to do certain things because of the laws and rules that we have in society telling us what we can and can't do. We can't even go fishing. We can't go hunting. We can't collect rainwater. There's so much stuff we can't do, but we automatically assume we can dictate what is and is not black or white. If someone has to ask you if you're mixed with black and something else, you're black. If you have to go out of your way to say, hey, oh no, my parents have this and that, or I have this amount of, you know how white people do it, this amount of Native American, and you have all European features, you're white, period. It's about what society sees when they look at you. It's not about what you see when you look at other people. We don't dictate that. But I've seen a lot of people also, especially, I can't even say especially in the black community, because I have not met very many white people who want to be white. Most of them will go out of their way to say, I'm Native American, I'm part this, or my mom, grandma, blah, blah, yada, yada. They can have blonde hair, blue eyes, which most of them do who say this, and they'll never, just like the Hebrew Israelites, the white people who claim Native American, of those two people, I've never met one in my life who has had a DNA test. So, with that being said, you can claim you're not African or you're not European or whatever, but the features really don't lie. The fact that Americans today are so stupid that they don't know the difference in the genome and they don't know what features are what, and they just see a black person or they just see a white person or whatever, it's one thing. But it is what it is. They used to have eugenics cards here to where they'd go around and see if your nose was too wide, too long, too this, too that. And that's what it was. But over time, they had to dumb us down for their own personal reasons, and that is to make the Irish fit in with the white so that they could further, you know, shit on us. Us being Native Americans and Africans in America. I would say it's a frustrating issue, but it's something that I'm going to constantly keep on frustrating other people for. Because the way I see it, with my genome being African and Native American and some colonial rape, the fact that y'all are not going to give reparations and pay us back for everything that we have done, everything you have taken, everything you have physically, sexually, violently caused, I am going to go out of my way to at least give you everything that you have done to us, and that's make you as uncomfortable as possible. And no amount of calling me full of hate, not black enough, ignorant, racist, none of that is going to stop me from doing what I do, and none of it is going to stop the truth that I am speaking from being the truth. White people don't hate me for relaying the message that I do the way I do, but for speaking honestly and bluntly and unapologetically about everything they have done and not fitting that image of a stereotype that they could easily show other people so that it ignores everything that they are. I bring attention to what they are and who they are. And no amount of getting on my pages on any social media outlet and calling me any names is going to change the fact that every single thing I say is verifiable. Verifiable as far as the heroin crisis, as far as the government intentionally putting drugs into the black and brown communities so that they could dope us up, pick up our men, ship them off. Before then, more likely to be married than white people. Now, single moms and baby daddies and all this other stuff that they call us. Everything that is a negative trait that they claim is something that they intentionally went out of their way to do. They have caused all of the destruction in every single thing, no matter how many people say, you're responsible for your own life and stop blaming everybody else and stop playing victim. There's not one who can tell me when black, brown, red people stop being victims in this country. Not only that, but this is an actual genocide going on. And just because you don't think that it is looking a certain way that it should does not change the fact that it is. So many white people go out of their way and say, you're racist. And when I say no, they're like, this is the definition. Well, the definition of genocide is to destroy people systematically, or to go out of your way and destroy people, a group, a religion, whatever, a specific group of people. You go out of your way to destroy or kill or hurt them systemically. And that is exactly what this country does. So we are still dealing with genocide regardless. And anybody can go look up the definition and it will match exactly what is going on here, no matter how much you try to overlook it. Black, brown, women, men, paid less, hired less, abused more, the propagated hate-filled lies on TV. Nothing has changed but the year and the type of clothes we wear, and the vernacular changes from niggers and slaves and all these other things. And all of this, whether it is learned or it is just their natural state, white people are more violent, more hateful. Rape and pedophilia and bestiality and cousin marrying filled people. And I don't think a lot of people realize that when white people get away with as much as they do for so many years, it becomes something that's just natural to them. It's second nature. Just like the rape, and then blaming the rape victims. All throughout history you'll see white men raping slaves and saying Africans and Native Americans were not really human, or they mature at an earlier age so you can have sex with them at a younger age, and it's really their fault because their bodies develop sooner, so they want to have sex sooner, and they're coming on to me, and blah blah blah. There's always these excuses. And that is why, as I mentioned several times before, there was not a white man convicted of rape until 1979. Kermit Johnson or something. And the only reason he was even found guilty is because of the fact that he killed her, and in the manner he killed her, and the fact that he kidnapped her and two of her friends, and they heard the entire conversation while they were locked in his trunk. He was put to death, and he was only the second in all history to be put to death for killing a black person. And today, white people still see us as less, and they're more harsh whenever it comes to seeing us for what we are in the workplace. Whenever we're victimized or shot, or one of our kids are killed by the police, they look for reasons why it was okay, way before they even fathom the idea that they didn't deserve it. And the same thing goes, like I said, with the black people, the brown people. Now, even more so than ever, it's the Islamophobia and all this talk about how they have underage wives and all this other stuff. And Americans have a real good old time talking shit about other people and being completely oblivious to the shit that we do here. White Americans have been the most destructive, violent, murderous, genocidal terrorists in the world. All around the globe, Europeans, white people, are the most violent. And no amount of propaganda or letting white people go and making up fake psychological disorders like influenza to say that they can't go to prison is going to change that. The only thing that's going to change is the numbers in the prison and how offset they are. And whenever it comes to the underage crap, you can still go to New Hampshire and marry a 12-year-old girl. It's still legal. Just like there's places in the country where you can go and fuck horses. You can still legally rape your wife. But in Texas, it's illegal to have a dildo. A lot of stuff is off balance, and it's because a lot of people aren't calling it out. And that is why my big mouth ass is here. So, it is what it is. No, I'm not going to stop. I just barely started checking a few messages today on YouTube. I know I had one person go through and report all my shit, and it tried to stop the monetization and everything, and all I had to do was push the appeal button, and then it, thank you, your video's now fine, blah, blah, blah. You can keep doing these things and keep calling people whatever you want, but you're seeing a mirror image of yourself that you don't want to see. There's so much anti-black, anti-brown, anti-everything crap online, but the white people seem to only find offense whenever it has to do with them. And it's the truth that they hate. It's the reality of who they are, what they are, where they came from, who their parents are. I have a lot of disgust. No, I don't hate all white people. No, I don't think all white people are this, that, or the other. Each and every single one of us is different, but whenever it comes to the majority rule, yes, I am disgusted by y'all. Yes, you are violent. Yes, you are emotional. Yes, you have been the cause for the majority of the race riots, even though you pretend that breaking windows is like the worst thing in the world, even though y'all do that over sports. I'm extremely honest and open, and for that reason, it upsets people, and they come and make up all kinds of accusations and try to come up with an idea as to why I say and do the things I do because something is wrong with me, without actually considering the fact that something is wrong with society. Whenever women and little girls are getting raped and they're told they're lying, or they were drinking too much, or they were dressed wrong, or whenever a black or brown or Native American person is gunned down by police, they're told they should have listened, or even if they had their hands up and they were doing everything they were supposed to, well, maybe all the rest of y'all should have been doing that. You're holding all the rest of us, all of us, to a certain standard that you can't hold yourself to. What about black on black crime? More propaganda that shows me that you have no mind of your own and you regurgitate shit. 84% of white murder victims are killed by other white people. Whenever it comes to other genocides, y'all always mention the Irish and the fucking Jews. One thing they all have in common with my African and Native American genocides, they were all done by Europeans. So talk about that instead of trying to overshadow somebody and silence them just because you're uncomfortable hearing the reality of the situation you don't want to see. Okay, pumpkin? When it comes to the mixed folks, rape, colonialism, legal rape, the only people that had a choice in that shit were the people doing the raping. So to go out of your way and say certain people are not black enough for your standards or don't know this, take a look at my YouTube page and how many niggers I am compared to you're not black enough. People will try every angle with me, but the number one thing I hear is fucking nigger. It is what it is. Afro-Latina, African, Latina, black. Get over it or don't. I really don't care, but at this point, it bothers me so little that I don't feel the need to respond. And if I do respond, all I'm going to do is say some janky ass shit to piss you off and then stop responding and not even bother reading. That's just how I am. The eldest child and grandchild. If there's one thing I know how to do, it's piss a motherfucker off. Ask my mama.